pleasant good evening from Morovia and welcome to King's News Broom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and the rest of our one globe. I'm Stephen Compton Angorin. In the headlines, government of Liberia through the central bank dismisses growing public concerns over an alleged shortage of Liberian dollars in the local market. But citizens and local vendors describe the CBL's statement as deceptive and a disservice to the ordinary people. Rule of law caucus at the House of Representatives criticizes the management of the Liberia Petroleum Refinery Company over the reduction of terminal and shuttle fees. The caucus chairman, Jacob Deby, termed LPRC's action as overstepping the bounds of legal and fiscal governance. And also coming up in the news, governments of Liberia and Rwanda signed a visa waiver agreement allowing citizens of both countries to travel freely between the two countries without visa requirement. Away from whom nearly 130 people have been similarly executed by Islamic insurgents in Niger in separate attacks since March, a report by Human Rights Watch. Details of these developments, the news bulletin, and the voices of the news makers are all packaged. We are taking a very short break to be right back. Welcome back. Up next is the bulletin of news with Sam Andrews.
The government of Liberia, through the Central Bank of Liberia, has dismissed growing public concerns over an alleged shortage of Liberian dollars on the local market. In a statement released Wednesday, the central bank described the report as rumor and a misrepresentation of the country's actual liquidity status. The bank noted that it currently holds 1.65 billion Liberian dollars in vault cash, an amount it said is more than sufficient to support commercial bank withdrawals, government salary payments, private sector transactions, and settlements. The CBL also highlighted the recent performance of the Liberian dollar, stating that the currency has demonstrated notable strength against the US dollar. The bank further attributed the Liberian dollar's appreciation to a mix of structural and economic factors, including a firm monetary policy stance. Amid the public concerns, the Central Bank of Liberia urged citizens to refrain from panic withdrawals or hoarding of the local currency, warning that such action contributes to market disruption and unnecessary. However, responding to the central bank claims, some local vendors in Morovia criticized the bank over its recent statement. Speaking to King's FM Wednesday in Morovia, the vendors described the central bank claim as deceptive and a disservice. They insisted that the current shortage of Liberian dollars is real and that's already led to a sharp decline in the exchange rate for the US dollar. The vendors added that the situation is hurting their businesses, citing significant daily losses due to the reduced availability of local currency and unstable exchange rate. The Liberia Petroleum Refining Company is under intense scrutiny after its recent decision to unilaterally reduce terminal fees and adjust storage pricing for petroleum products, something lawmakers describe as overstepping the bounds of legal and fiscal governance. Addressing a press conference Wednesday at the capital in Morovia, Representative Jacob Deby of Grand Jida County and chairman of the Rule of Caucus in the House of Representatives condemned LPRC action as deeply concerning and potentially in violation of national financial laws. According to Representative Deby, the Public Financial Management Act of 2009, amended in 2019, outlines how public funds and revenue streams must be managed in Liberia, noting that it specifically requires that any fee or tariff adjustments be included in the national budget and approved by both the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning and the legislature. The Grand Jita County lawmaker argued LPRC action not only violates statutory procedures but also jeopardizes the integrity of public financial governance. The chairman of the Rule of Law Caucus called for the immediate suspension of the fee reduction and demanded a comprehensive explanation from LPRC, board, and management. The governments of Liberia and Rwanda have signed a reciprocal visa waiver agreement, allowing citizens of both countries to travel freely between the two nations without visa requirements. The agreement, signed by senior officials from both governments, is expected to strengthen diplomatic relations and promote enhanced economic, political, and cultural cooperation. Speaking at the signing ceremony held Wednesday at Liberia's Foreign Affairs Ministry in Monrovia, the country's Foreign Minister Sarah Beslo Yanti described the agreement as a symbolic renewal of the spirit of Pan-African collaboration. According to her, the initiative marks a significant step toward deepening diplomatic engagement and create more opportunities and stronger bilateral ties between the two countries. She also commended Rwanda and the people for the impressive infrastructure and developmental achievements, highlighting Rwanda's progress despite its history of conflict. Also speaking, Rwanda Foreign Minister Oluja Dugemenin, who signed on behalf of his government, praised Liberia's commitment to the agreement implementation. He noted that the visa waiver will ease travel for entrepreneurs, investors, students, and tourists, while also facilitating the execution of previous memorandum of understanding between the two countries. The Minister of Finance and Development Planning has launched the Ministry Youth Your Young Professional Internship Program. Speaking at the launching ceremony, Finance Minister Augustin Gafoy encouraged participants to make maximum use of the opportunity given them. He emphasized that the program is intended to build the CV of participating youth, encouraging them not to underestimate their colleagues, as some of them could be of help to other firms in the future. For his part, Deputy Minister for Administration Bill Miguel Jones admonished the participants to focus and be objective as the internship program could shift their lives. The officer in charge of Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Fitzgerald Biago, met with members of Birmingham County Civil Society Organization Council in Tottenham, Birmingham County, to declare an all-out war against drug trafficking and abuse across Liberia. Addressing reporters Wednesday in Tottenham, Birmingham County, Biago emphasized the agency's renewed commitment to discipline, professionalism, and integrity. He warned both traffickers, and corrupt law enforcement officers against what he termed as aiding and abetting, adding any DEL officer involved in trafficking will be rooted out of the agency. He noted that the agency will no longer tolerate internal complicity and is implementing measures to identify and expel corrupt personnel. Fitzgerald Biago expressed deep collaboration between government and grassroots organizations, including civil society organizations and the media, in the fight against drugs and substance abuse. He announced that the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency is already working with civil society organizations, youth groups, religious communities, and international partners to strengthen intelligence, network, and community outreach. The House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts has commenced financial performance hearings for fiscal year 2025, engaging various revenue-generating entities across the government. The hearings, which began Monday, according to the House of Representatives Wednesday release, will run through October 12th and are scheduled for Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The release added that the PAC mandate is drawn from the House's role 57.6, which empowers the committee to examine accounts showing appropriation of funds granted by the House to meet public expenditures, among others. The House's Committee on Public Accounts also revealed that it has requested all entities scheduled to appear to submit 15 hard copies and one soft copy of the following documents, including second quarter financial statements for fiscal year 2025, bank statements, approved procurement plan with performance reports on all accounts, as well as other essential documents to the Secretariat. The Public Accounts Committee reaffirmed its commitment to upholding transparency, accountability, and fiscal discipline in Liberia's public financial management system. Criminal Court A Judge Roosevelt Willing has for the first second time postponed its hearing or ruling on pivotal 32-count motion filed by the defense in the high-profile Capitol building arson case. The case involved former House Speaker Councilor Fonati Kofa and three sitting lawmakers, all charged in connection with the alleged December 18, 2024 fire that damaged parts of the Capitol building. The motion, which sought to suppress key pieces of evidence submitted by state prosecutors, was for the second time argued on Wednesday in court before the resident judge. The latest report on global hunger has ranked Liberia 120 out of 127 countries with a score of 31.9%, which suggests serious hunger. Next to Niger in West Africa, Liberia is the hungriest country in the region with 38.4% of its population undernourished, a key factor contributing to its low ranking. The Global Hunger Index uses four core indicators to assess hunger levels. Undernourishment, 38.4% of Liberia's population lacks sufficient calorie intake. Child stunning, 29% of children under 5 have low height for their age, showing signs of chronic undernutrition. Child wasting, 3.4% of under 5 children suffer from low weight for their height, indicating acute undernutrition, including child mortality, 7.3% of children dying before reaching their 5th birthday. The Liberia National Police Women and Children Division has reportedly arrested 3 suspects in connection with a gang rape involving 2 sisters in Grand County, an incident that has sparked shocked residents in Zedru, occurring on September 8th, when the victims, who are residents of New Georgia community in Zedru, were returning home late at night after purchasing apples. The 3 arrested suspects are identified as Chris Barrier, 21, Isaac Blow, known as Level, age 22, and Josh Brown, known as 2 Days Soap, 20, are currently in police custody. The Ministry of Education, with support from People's Republic of China, has disclosed that it will be dispatching a 25-member delegation on a 2-week education study tour to China beginning Thursday. The initiative, according to the ministry, underscores Liberia's commitment to strengthening its education sector through global collaboration. The Education Ministry Wednesday revealed that the delegation comprises of teachers and master trainers from Raw Teacher Training Institute. An 18-year-old visually impaired Liberian student is appealing to the national government, humanitarian organizations, and compassionate individuals for support as he seeks to continue his education. Musa Kamara, who aspires to become a journalist, has expressed a strong desire to enroll at Liberia School for the Blind. However, financial constraints are hindering his ability to meet the school's registration and material requirements. In an interview with Kings FM at his residence in Congotown Tuesday, Musa explained that the total cost of enrollment, including registration fees and Other essential items amount to approximately 45,000 Liberian dollars. According to Musa Kamara, his mother has been his sole source of support since he lost his sight in 2020. He is now also the primary caregiver of his ailing father. And administrators of Soliwan Community School are urging parents to prioritize their children's education, expressing concern over the slow pace of student registration. Speaking to Kings FM Wednesday in Morovia, the school assistant registrar, Sarah Mape, said the turnout for registration has been disappointing. She emphasized that despite the ongoing economic hardship, parents should place education at the top of their scale of preference. Madam Mape reminded the public that Soliwan Community School is a tuition-free institution with only minimum registration fees required. She further urged parents to take greater responsibility for their children's appearance and well-being, especially during regular school days, as this plays a crucial role in their academic success.
Sam Andrews there with the news bulletin is a regular featured on King's Newsroom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and the rest of our one globe. And in one of our top development, government of Liberia through the central bank dismisses growing public concern over an alleged shortage of Liberian dollars in the local market. Citizens and local vendors describe the CBL's statement as deceptive and disservice through the ordinary people. We are taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you more development and the voices of the news makers. Welcome back. Thanks for rejoining us to this development. The Liberia Petroleum Refinery Company is under intense scrutiny after its recent decision to reduce terminal fees and adjust shortage pricing for petroleum products, something lawmakers describe as overstep the bounds of legal and fiscal governance. Addressing the press conference Wednesday at the Capitol building in Morovia, Representative Jacob Dibid of Grangeda County and chairman of the Rule of Law Caucus at the House of Representatives condemned the LPRC's action and termed it as deeply concerning and potentially in violation of national financial law. According to Representative Dibby, the Public Financial Management Act of 2009 amended in 2019 outlines how public funds and revenue streams must be managed in Liberia, that noting it is specifically required that earning fee or tariff adjustment be included in the national budget.
PRC 1989 grants the LPRC exclusive rights for the importation, sale, and distribution of petroleum and petroleum products within the Republic of Liberia. Particularly, the importation of all petroleum products shall be the sole responsibility, sole and exclusive right of LPRC, except with the written consent of the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company duly approved by the President of Liberia. While this exclusivity and approval, the Public Financial Management Act of 2009 restated and amended 2019 states that the PFM Act governs all matters related to the management of public finances, including revenue collection and accounting across government agencies, including development planning, and by extension, the legislature adhered to principles of accountability, transparency, and legislative outreach by unilaterally reducing terminal fees and setting storage prices. The LPRC has effectively bypassed freely legislated revenue frameworks, an act inconsistent with the PFM Act's mandate. that all revenue-raising measures must be defined in the national budget and harmonized with the MFDP and legislature. This is a threat to accountability and transparency. This decision scraps the way public oversight and disguises the true fiscal impact of APRC's operation. Without proper budgeting and reporting, how can we legislature, how can we verify whether this benefits the people or instead deprives the state of critical revenue, economic, and legal precedent? If left unchecked, such an intrusion undermines the rule of law and encourages other SOEs to act beyond their legal jurisdiction, risking systemic erosion of financial governance in Liberia. What can we do as legislators?
The chairman of the Rule of Law Caucus further called for the immediate suspension of the fees reduction and demanded a comprehensive explanation from LPRC's board and management.
I hereby call upon the board and management of the LPRC to immediately suspend these unlawful measures and provide a detailed account to the legislature, highlighting the rationale, projected fiscal implications, and legal justification for the decision. The legislature, through its committees on lands, mines, energy, natural resources, and environment, and public accounts, to launch a full-scale investigation into the legality, the fiscal impact, and policy consequences of LPRC's action. The Ministry of Finance and Development Planning under the PFM law to formally review any unauthorized feed or price revisions and work to reintegrate this into a transparent, legislative approved budgeting process. The executive to guard against executive agencies or SOEs operating beyond their statutory limits and ensure that all financial decisions remain under appropriate public scrutiny. In conclusion, this situation reveals a dangerous overreach by the LPRC, one that challenges both the legal framework established by the 1989 Act and the fiscal governance mechanism embodied in the PFM law of 2009, restated 2019, as lawmakers, the guardians of the public purse and defenders of national.
Representative Jacob Debbie of Grand Jita County there speaking. The governments of Liberia and Rwanda have signed a reciprocal visa waiver agreement, allowing citizens of both countries to travel freely between the two nations without visa requirements. The agreement, signed by senior officials from both governments, is expected to strengthen diplomatic relations and promote economic and political cultural cooperation. Speaking at the signing ceremony held Wednesday at Liberia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Monrovia, Liberian Foreign Minister Sarah Besloyanti described the agreement as a symbolic renewal of the spirit of Pan-African cooperation.
The important thing for us here today is to show that Africans can do it. We can work together, we can cooperate, and we can ensure that we advance our various agendas. Economic diplomacy is one of the major thrusts of our foreign policy right now, over the last 2 years. How do we attract Rwandan companies, Rwandan investors? Our arrest agenda identifies areas where we need to ensure not only government policy frameworks and actions to accelerate development, but where investors can find opportunity in agriculture, in sanitation, hygiene, energy, tourism, and promoting tourism from the perspective of domestic and international tourism. We look forward to trading, increasing trade and investment between Liberia and Rwanda. And we see our students in Rwanda, over 3,000 Liberian students in Rwanda, where you've been very gracious to our students. We see the opportunity of our students there as an opportunity for cultural diplomacy, to look at how we share our culture with you, you share your culture with us, how we learn from each other. And we see it also as an opportunity for us to deepen those ties. Thank you for the support they have received. Their government has been very supportive of their tenure there, and what you're doing in terms of education diplomacy, I think is very important. We hope that Rwanda will have a deeper presence in Liberia. We also look forward to having a diplomatic presence in Rwanda. We hope that we can get some support from your government to help us to do that in terms of a location, office space, the chancery, residence for a consul general, and looking at the possibility of giving us that support at least for minimum of 3 to 5 years, so you come in and set that up and take it forward. We believe that the long-standing relationship we have had is going to see the best yet to come. We believe that the agreement we signed last year with you and this that we signed today now puts us in the pathway to deepen those sectors. We're happy that your security personnel came also as part of this mission. They're meeting with our security personnel in terms of intelligence sharing, and so forth. This is very important as we approach the UN Security Council seat, and as we approach the issues around analysis on the continent and looking at the various regions of the continent, the various conflicts on the continent, and how we can play a part towards a just and peaceful world.
Also speaking, Uganda Foreign Minister Oloje Dojimenin, who signed on behalf of his government, praised Liberia's commitment to the agreement's implementation. He noted that the visa waiver will ease travel for entrepreneur, investors, students, and tourists, and also facilitate the execution of previous memorandums of understanding signed between the two nations.
Thank you very much for receiving me in your beautiful country. It is my first time in Nigeria, and I was impressed about how I was telling you how green it is. And we are satisfied by our operation. And we have now signed two MOUs, one on giving visas between our two countries, which is in line of our African spirit to improve free movement of people on our continent. And we have also signed an MOU on Joint Permanent Commission, which we hope will structure our cooperation to allow us to review on a regular basis the project, the MOUs, and other agreements signed between our. These two MOUs actually follow 4 other MOUs that were signed. MOU in cooperation. There was in 2008 an MOU in defense cooperation. In 2018, we had the 2 MOUs that were signed. One on bilateral service agreement, a cooperation between our 2 tax institutions, the Rwanda Revenue Authority and the Liberian Revenue Authority. And last year, with Brother Ibrahim in Kigali, we signed an MOU establishing a general cooperation agreement. So we have now have the tools to.
Up to this next development, the Minister of Finance and Development Planning has launched the ministry's youth professional internship program. Speaking at the launching ceremony, Finance Minister Augustine Gafuan encouraged the participants to make maximum use of the opportunity given them. He emphasized that the YPRP is intended to build the civics of participating youths, encouraging them not to underestimate their colleagues, as some of them could be a help to others in the future.
When they talk about CV, get scared. They think about CV, they want to give them opportunity. So one of the reasons why we put this program together is to try to help to build your CV. You can put small thing called job experience. At least now you don't be too scared about CV building. You put it one layer. Yeah. Intern, Ministry of Finance. You don't have to, but even if you are here for 4 months, we will not force you to say 4 months on the CV. Right? But that one will not be chief auditors on the CV. But it don't help you. People are going to look at you differently. And they will feel that you learn something. And so while you're here, we'll try to push you to learn something. But some will not learn. Some will learn. So choose today that you will learn. You will not be in the category of people who will choose not to learn. But we will try so that all of you will learn stuff. All of you will learn. And let me just say this. You know, you get too many persons interacting with you. You get your bosses, you get others who will not be your bosses, but people will watch you. People will watch you. And I will say this, do not underestimate any of your colleagues here.
For his part, Deputy Minister for Administration Bill McGill Jones admonished the participants to be focused and objective as the internship program could shift their lives, something he said they can be an example of the change they want to see.
What I encourage you to do is this. There's one thing between you and your conscience. Be focused. 15 years ago, when I worked in the Ministry of Planning, that opportunity shaped my life. I went from a poverty lab to the Liberia Reconstruction and Development Committee. Then I had an opportunity to go to the 154 administrative district. Then, in 2010, right, 15 counties, 73 districts, to do what we had then as the Vision 2030 today. What was the agenda for transformation? I had that opportunity. It gave me a platform to be able to speak to Liberians across all of those counties, to hear them and apply some of the things they were saying also related to my own situation. I did not come from a family of water people. I came from a family from a relegated part of society. Just to let you know this, my mom and my dad, the best of my recollections, were only able to pay my school fee up to around 6th grade. Who helped me was the network that I did. So when I heard the assistant minister talk about network, right, it's the greatest tool for me that I have used to reach to where I am today. So you're here today. It's an opportunity for you to be the change you want, shape your career, or go back to where you think you don't want to be. I believe all of you here have taken on that journey. You want to be that change. That's why when your friends were saying, oh, that thing they already not giving to their people, don't waste your time. You are telling yourself.
The Deputy Minister for Administration at the Ministry of Finance. Earlier, you listened to Finance Minister Augustine Gafuan. Well, if you are just coming our way, this is a reminder that you are listening to the Wednesday, September 10, 2025 edition of King's News Broom. We are taking a very short break to be right back with more developments. Welcome back to this development now. Administrators of the Sodiwin Community School are calling on parents to prioritize their children's education, expressing concern over the slow pace of students' registration. Speaking with King's FM Wednesday in Monrovia, the school's assistant registrar Sarah Mampe said the turnout for registration has been disappointing. She emphasized that despite the ongoing economic hardship, parents should place education at the top of their scale of preference.
As for the registration, it's very tricky because you talk to parents will tell you that things goes with them. It's a very difficult for the parents sending the children to school to some come and say, okay, 2 or 3 students a day, some days, none at all. And most of the students we have here, they are Catholic children. When the children come to school, sometimes you forget that they can be in the classroom. You will see them selling on the street, some of them between cars, selling. And those are what we call street sellers. They are the breadwinners for the family. You ask some of them, some of the parents that have met with them are gone with and what to ask them on these things. right? The children come to school, they cry a lot. Hungry. And when child hungry, you know what it means? Very, very bad. We are going through hell with these children and the parents.
So you talk about slow process in the registration.
Yeah.
What does it signal to you?
Oh, that. I don't think school is.
So, in your own understanding, what do you make of the situation? Is it that parents do not have money or ignore this particular obligation?
Business to buy, how do they pay the children?
To this next development, the government of Liberia, through the Central Bank of Liberia, has dismissed growing public concern over an alleged shortage of Liberian dollars in the local market. Wednesday, in a release, the central bank described the report as rumors and misrepresentation of the country financial status. However, responding to the CBL's claim, some local vendors and citizens in Monrovia criticized the bank over its recent statement.
What happened in the country? Why go on the discuss it? Why think of that? What is it? The money all over here. Never say all over la. What is never say like yeah? What money in the country? What never say yeah? What money not never say in the past. You can see never say in the past. There is any lie. The protest talking. The man say all the government officials also liar. The man say hey happening. All the government officials also liar. What go why right there you go for? I know you are something.
But really listen to the broadcast. I'm Peter W. Carter, cover under the trailer in Lower Johnsonville. Thank you for the fascinating discussion. I think the same angle is central bank is telling us that there's liberty on the market, and it should be telling us what economic policy are they using. No, they are answering their proof to us that, and there's no monetary analyst at the central bank. They are totally drastically incompetent. At the future shortage of and the liberty, that's the reality. You cannot shy away from that central bank. And today, when you walk in a villa
and so, folks, we are soliciting views from people who are involved in the money exchange. So we'll talk to this man. He will tell us his name. Sir, welcome. Tell us your name. My name is Robert. Okay, Robert, tell us what business you're making. I'm doing money changing business. And so how is it today? Today is very hard. Very hard today, not even from today alone, but from the beginning of last week up to present, even for me to any level, this is very hard. So what makes it hard? For example, some of our customers will go to sometimes they will the labor day for the people for 200 rates, and then when we go there, sometimes they ain't got labor day. And even sometimes they want to get the labor day, they will create the labor day rate, and to lowest rate. Sometimes they will want to get the labor day for sometimes for sometimes 50 rate. And they see if the people changing or that they do the changing units. Why are you selling?
I'm selling on some clothes.
So how much for this?
That 200, 150.
So how is the business today?
The business, I'm very fine.
Why is it?
I don't know. The senators are going to be in abroad right now. We don't know. I'm not selling.
Okay, so what their friends are talking about US rate. Is it like the US rate is the problem for your business not going today?
Yeah, well, it's down right now.
Okay.
Just want to say that what I want to say. So now I don't know what really happening in the country. Go back. I get higher rate. Just like go back.
The rate not going to go away. Yeah, so people trying to get money to save. We now the what is now we don't buy again like we were because of the rate.
Citizens, they're reacting to CBL's dismissal of the growing concern over an alleged shortage of the Liberian dollars on the local markets. Today's next development, the officer in charge of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitzgerald Biako, met with members of the Broom County Civil Society Organization in Tubmanburg on Monday to declare all war against drug trafficking and abuse across Liberia. Addressing reporters Wednesday in Tubmanburg, Broom County, DCP Biako emphasized the agency's renewed commitment to discipline, professionalism, and integrity.
And we want to say thank you to the civil society group in Bomi County for inviting us to have a community engagement, a platform that we use to eradicate drugs in Western Liberia. We are committed to the issue of drug eradication in Liberia. We want to build a DA that is responsive, that is credible, disciplined, and served with professionalism and integrity. Let the message be clear. Those who are involved into drug trafficking, who benefit from the destruction of life, let it be clear today that we'll go after you. We'll dismantle your network, we'll dismantle the ghettos. I have 702, and here men here, you see a number of men are here today. We are sweeping the whole of Republic of Liberia. We'll go after you. And wanting to deal officers, if you are here and involved into shady deeds, you either with us or you're against us. We'll weed you out. We want a credible DA personnel that will go after drug traffickers, that will go after drug abusers. You can't be within the DA and you become the abuser or alien abetting trafficker. We'll weed you out. We already got intelligent network. We are collaborating with civil society organizations, the motorcycle union.
The CP Biako also appealed to media institutions to be allies in the campaign, noting that the LDEA and the Joint Security need the media.
So again, to the media, we pledge our commitment of working with you all. Anywhere you see DA personnel or joint security personnel, because the fight is joint security fight, and not only LDA, police, immigration, fire service. Anywhere you see them involved, trying to aid and abet the issue of drug abuse and the issue of drug trafficking, they are being enlight us. We'll have our hotline. The Bomi County hotline will soon be established in the incoming days, and you will be notified, and it will be made public. It will be at major government facilities and police stations, civil compound, all of the major government facilities in Bomi County. You see our hotlines and our contact information to be there. So again, we are.
And now there's development before our foreign news. An 18-year-old visually impaired Liberian student is appealing through the national government, humanitarian organizations, and compassionate individual for support as he seeks to continue his education. Musa Kamara, who aspires to become a journalist, has expressed a strong desire to enroll at the Liberia School for the Blind. However, financial constraint has hindered his ability to meet the school's registration materials requirement. We are sorry we cannot get that website. We hope to get that particular website during our subsequent newscast. And now, away from home, nearly 130 people have been similarly executed by Islamic insurgents in Niger in separate attacks since March, a report by Human Rights Watch. The rights group says gunmen carry out a series of brutal attacks, including a mass murder at a mosque in the northern part of the country in June, where more than 70 worshippers were shot dead during prayers. There were bodies all over, one on top of the other. A local woman who lost three of her children said to the HRW, despite of attacks in a major blow to the credibility of Niger's military junta, as it promised to calm the insurgency when it took power after depositing president. That's all for our foreign news, and this is how we go home on today's edition of the news program. But before we take leave of you, reminder of top stories we close the photo. Government of Liberia, through the central bank, dismisses growing public concerns over an alleged shortage of Liberian dollars in the local market. Citizens and local vendors describe the CBL's statement as deceptive and a disservice to the ordinary people. Rule of Law caucus at the House of Representatives criticizes the management of the Liberia Petroleum Refinery Company over reduction of terminal and storage fees. The caucus chairman, Jacob Deby, terms LPRC's action as overstepping the bounds of legal and fiscal governance. Government of Liberia and Rwanda signed a reciprocal visa waiver agreement, allowing citizens of both countries to travel freely between the two nations without visa requirement. And away from whom nearly 130 people have been similarly executed by Islamic insurgents in Niger in separate attacks since March, a report by Human Rights Watch. We'd like to say many thanks to our news writers, reporters, and editors for making today's news presentation our success. Sam Andrews was here with the news bulletin, and Newton Tokbasara control and ably coordinated the sound. I'm Stephen Compton. Thanks for listening and watching.